city of Sherbrooke. And it was on the approach had a hill to it. And then the apartment houses were all around it, so that as we came in down the hill, the people in the apartment houses could see us. Well, it was early in the morning, 9 o'clock, and we were assembled to go in to house combat. And we were standing there, and one of the soldiers called out medic. Now, I was a medic for the M Company, 47th Regiment. M Company is the heavy weapons company. That means they have those 30-30 water-cooled machine guns and mortars. And that's all you had, just blasting it. As I was going in, they yelled medic, so I went up to see what was going on. I mean, nobody had done any fighting. I didn't know what the heck to look for. Two guys by a hedgerow pointed out and said, look at that spot. In the middle of a field, a man raised his hand. And I said, what does that mean? He says, look again. And another guy raised his hand. So I said, what? He says, those are two scouts that got shot approaching the town. So I said, well, I guess we have to go and get them. So I went back and I got what we call the musette bags, which are my medical bags. I made sure I had my band on and a helmet with a big red cross on it. And I was just about to go over the wall, and the lieutenant comes up and he says to me, what are you doing? I said, look there are two guys wounded in the middle of the field. He says, let the rear people pick them up. I says, well, how long will that take? He says, I don't know, but we're going to house combat. So I said, I can't do that. He says, what do you mean? I said, there are two wounded guys out there. I'm a medic, that's my job. He says, I'm ordering you not to do it. I says, I'm sorry, the battalion surgeon is my chief, and I have to go. He says, you'll be sorry. Well, I decided not to sneak and crawl, because that's how those guys got shot. So I just took my musette bag and I started trotting to the center of the field. I was been 10 feet from them and I got shot. I didn't think I was shot. I didn't know I was shot. I thought that somebody had thrown a potato masher, which was a grenade the Germans had, like a tin can with a wooden handle, and they would throw them. That was their grenades. And they made a lot of noise, but did little damage. So I approached the guys. This potato masher exploded, and I dropped, and I crawled to the two guys, and they were both wounded, one in the leg and one in the abdomen. So I pulled them by their arms, one helping the other, and I got them both out of the area. I was on the other side of the hedgerow now, because I went from my side to the other side of the hedgerow. As I'm sitting there talking to the medics, one of the guys says to me, what's that red on your sleeve? I said, I got some blood from the wounded guys. He said, no. The rest of your sleeve is red, and your hand is not that much red. He says, why don't you check it out? So I took off my raincoat and put my hand in, and I got blood. So they put me on the same stretcher that they put the other guys, and in a Jeep, on top of the stretchers are racks on Jeeps. they took me back, and I ended up in England. Well, they didn't have to do anything for me because it was a lucky shot. The bullet was an armor-piercing bullet, and we know that because its entrance site is smaller than the exit site. In the regular bullet, the entrance site is bigger than the exit site. So we knew it was an armor-piercing bullet. It came around, ricocheted around my ribs, and came out under my scapula, missing my spine. I did not get a pneumothorax, which is the usual problem. I got a hemothorax. That means some blood got in my lungs. Okay. So I'm now in the hospital in England. I'm laying down, enjoying it. And all of a sudden I hear, Pizzolato, 4203-7873. Here, sir. Guy comes in. He says, by order of the commanding general, you are to be court-martialed for disobeying orders under fire. I looked at him. I says, what am I supposed to do? He says, don't worry, we'll catch up with you. So I take this piece of paper and I put it under my pillow, and I'm laying there wondering what the hell's going to happen. Because the guy did tell me he was going to take action. The afternoon came along, and again, Pizzolato, 4203-7873. Yes, sir.
We got about that number.
It's a major. He comes up to me. He says, by order of General Eddie, you are given the Bronze Star with cluster for action above and beyond the line of duty. And I looked at him. I says, I don't understand. He says, what do you mean you don't understand? I said, I was court-martialed this morning. He looked at it and he says, oh crap. Tore it up and threw it away. And that's the story. I got the medal because after I was wounded, I was able to drag 2 people out of fire. And that was the reason for the whole thing. And I just